Today's guest episode is voiced by Emeka, a talented scriptwriter who's been working with Aperture for over 2 years now.
In 2018, Apple became the world's first trillion-dollar company. To this day, there are just 5 companies in the world worth over $1 trillion. To put into perspective just how much 1 trillion is, 1 million seconds is around 12 days, 1 billion seconds is about 32 years, and 1 trillion seconds is more than all of recorded history, just under 32,000 years. In other words, you could never count that high. It's no surprise that there are no individual trillionaires in the world. Becoming a billionaire is difficult enough, and coming up with creative ways to make money is getting harder and harder every day. Yet, as crazy as it sounds, the person who would be the world's first trillionaire might be alive today. It could be Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, or maybe even a random person walking down the street, and you would have no clue whatsoever. How can one individual make that much money? Simple: asteroid mining. In an interview in 2016, Neil deGrasse Tyson revealed the secrets to amassing Scrooge McDuck levels of wealth.
Ready? You listening? It is likely that the first trillionaire will be the person who exploits the mineral resources on asteroids.
And the man is entirely correct. Asteroid mining may soon switch from science fiction to reality, turning billionaires into trillionaires. NASA tracks the locations of thousands of asteroids and near-Earth objects, some of which are worth trillions of dollars. According to NASA, approximately 14,000 NEOs come relatively close to Earth at some point during their orbit. Many of these nearby asteroids contain minerals and materials that hold value on Earth, and there's a seemingly infinite amount of them out there in space. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter alone is estimated to contain upwards of 2 million asteroids larger than 1 kilometer in diameter and millions of smaller ones. Right now, mining an absurd amount of resources from asteroids and hauling them back to Earth is too expensive. But once the technology gets more affordable, the individuals who extract these resources will be the first trillionaires of our time.
Before we continue with our story though, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor for today's video, Brilliant.org, the best place to learn everything STEM related. Figuring out how much asteroids are worth requires a lot of math, which can be quite confusing. That was until I took Brilliant's Foundation and Advanced Math courses. Each course is customized to fit your knowledge level so you can learn at your own pace. The lessons are also interactive, with interesting features and challenges that turn learning into a fun game. And if math just isn't your thing, Brilliant also has thousands of other lessons like neural networks that'll teach you about AI, data science, and logic. With new lessons added every single month, there's so much value in there. To try this course and everything else Brilliant has to offer completely free for 30 days, go to brilliant.org/aperture or click the link in the description. The first 200 people to visit also get 20% off a premium subscription, which unlocks every single course Brilliant has to offer. You'll not only be furthering yourself and your knowledge, but you'll be supporting Aperture at the same time. Back to you, Emeka.
In 2015, an asteroid codenamed 2011 UW158 whipped past our planet at a distance of 2.4 million kilometers, about 6 times the distance between the Earth and the Moon. It carried more than 90 million tons of platinum in its core, as well as many other rare and precious materials. Scientists estimate that this 1 kilometer wide platinum-rich asteroid is worth over $5.4 trillion. This single asteroid is worth more than the 2 most valuable companies on Earth, Apple and Microsoft combined. But an even larger opportunity presented itself in 2013. A 30-meter wide asteroid named 2012 DA14 made a flyby of Earth that was a little too close for comfort. The asteroid came so close that it flew within the ring of geostationary satellites at an altitude of only about 35,000 kilometers. The distance to the Moon is only 384,000 kilometers, meaning that 2012 DA14 passed by our planet at a distance 1/11th that of our closest cosmic neighbor. Shooting past Earth at a whopping speed of 7.8 kilometers per second, if it hit Earth, 2012 DA14 would have caused massive damage. Although it might not seem that large, with a kinetic energy of 3.5 megatons, this asteroid impact would have produced a blast 200 times more powerful than the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima. That's more than enough to wipe out an entire city in an instant. Thankfully, 2012 DA-14 was not on a collision course to Earth. Although just 16 hours before its close call, the Chelyabinsk meteor entered Earth's atmosphere and crashed into the Russian city, seriously injuring over 1,000 people. Even though it was later confirmed that the two asteroids hadn't influenced each other in any way, it is still crazy to think that two massive asteroids could have potentially hit Earth on the same day. Unfortunately, the Chelyabinsk meteor had no precious metals, and fragments could only be sold as collector's items. But 2012 DA-14 was very different. Although its size may not seem spectacular, this 30-meter wide asteroid could be worth over $20 trillion US. This single asteroid could fend off starvation and malnutrition worldwide for 27 years. Or it could send every single high school graduate in the United States to college for free for the next 114 years. And this is nowhere near the price tag of the most valuable asteroid we've ever found. Asteroid 1903 LU is the 7th largest asteroid found to date. Discovered in 1903 by American astronomer Raman Smith Dugan, 1903 LU hovers over the Sun in the main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. It's composed of nickel, iron, cobalt, water, nitrogen, and hydrogen, all of which are incredibly useful resources to industries around the globe. This asteroid is worth so much that I don't think we can fully comprehend it. At 323 kilometers in diameter, asteroid 1903 LU is worth a mind-boggling $15.38 quintillion. I'll let that sink in for a second. Do you realize how much you can do with $15 quintillion? Consider this thought experiment to put this massive amount of money into perspective. $1 US bill is 16 centimeters long. If you were to take $15.38 quintillion bills and lay them out end to end, you would have a line of $1 bills 2.46 times 10 raised to the power of 18 meters long. This $15 quintillion line would stretch from Earth to Alpha Centauri, the closest star system to our Sun, 30 times. Yeah. Although 1903 LU is worth an inconceivable amount of money, it isn't the most cost-effective asteroid to mine. Asteroid 1999 JU3 is one of our best chances at mining an asteroid. Its unique orbit causes it to come within a few million kilometers of Earth every 4 or 5 years. As a result, we can take multiple trips to the asteroid for 10, 20, or even 30 years to mine it for the maximum amount of materials we can bring back to Earth. Although 1999 JU3 is estimated to be worth only $83 billion US, it's one of the most cost-effective asteroids to mine thanks to its location and convenient orbit. This could be our baby step into the asteroid mining industry and pave the way for future explorers and entrepreneurs to push humanity up into space and maybe even jumpstart a second space race. Let's be honest, that would be awesome. In 2010, US President Barack Obama announced that a human mission to an asteroid would be a goal to achieve before 2025.
Early in the next decade, a set of crewed flights will test and prove the systems required for exploration beyond low Earth orbit. And by 2025, we expect new spacecraft designed for long journeys to allow us to begin the first ever crewed missions beyond the moon into deep space. We'll start by sending astronauts to an asteroid for the first time in history. By the mid-2030s, I believe we can send humans to orbit Mars and return them safely to Earth. And a landing on Mars will follow, and I expect to be around to see it.
It's currently 2023, and the former president was spot on with his prediction. NASA is currently working on the Artemis mission, and the second part of that mission, scheduled to launch in May 2024, will see 4 astronauts travel farther into space than any human ever before. By 2025, The third mission will see the first woman and person of color set foot on the moon, with the goal of building a base there. Unlike the Apollo missions, our plan with Artemis is not just to visit and explore the moon. If all 3 missions are successful, NASA plans to send crewed missions annually so that astronauts can begin establishing a moon base to serve as a staging point for exploring the rest of our solar system. But the challenge with the rest of President Obama's speech is if we want to build a base on the moon and then eventually colonize Mars, we'll need to learn how to mine asteroids, because it's much cheaper to mine resources on nearby asteroids than to try shipping the already limited resources we have on our planet to outer space. Now, we haven't really talked about one crucial resource: water. While water may not be worth trillions of dollars yet, it is the most important resource required to keep a space colony alive. Without finding a source of water up there is no way we can explore space. Water is also essential because it can be broken down into hydrogen and oxygen, which can be used to create rocket fuel. If we can produce rocket fuel on the moon, we can send lighter rockets into space, ones that can refuel during their mission, allowing us to take trips from our moon base to different parts of deep space without having to return to Earth first. With all the essential resources and the incredible wealth stored in asteroids, why haven't we started mining them yet? Well, like I said earlier, it's way too expensive. To understand the potential cost implications, consider NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission. OSIRIS-REx is the first US mission to collect a sample from an asteroid. Right now, it's on its way back from asteroid Bennu with a sample that weighs just around 400 grams to 1 kilogram. Although it's only retrieving a relatively small sample, this mission cost NASA around $1.1 billion and took 7 years from its launch in 2018 to its return scheduled to happen in 2023. Now, imagine how long it would take and how much money it would cost for us to mine an asteroid as big as 1903 LU. Because the biggest challenge with asteroid mining is the funding and not necessarily the technological limitation, it's not crazy to think that eventually someone or some people with more than enough disposable income will invest in this sector and usher the world into a new era of wealth, space exploration, and abundance of resources. We can only hope that those who do this will use the resources to advance our species and not for their own selfish gain.